Greetings, and yet again, greetings, everyone. You already know who it is, but I don't mind giving you a slight reminder. It's your best friend, your good Judy, your next door neighbor, your friend, your cousin, your niece, your nephew. And I have recently been promoted to great auntie. This is Norman J. Liverpool IV, and I'm so happy that you have chosen to spend your Wednesday evening with me on What's the LGBT, honey. Listen, I am so excited about the show that we have tonight. I have brought four of the closest people to me to do an episode on Blast from the Past. I find that as I share my story, I mean, obviously it comes from my perspective. And so I wanted to invite people who knew Norman before Norman was Norman. So we're going to move quickly through our housekeeping things because I'm really eager to bring my special guest on. So as you all know, I do offer a 5-week mentorship experience, and our next cycle begins on September 14th. So I have 4 promises that I make to you when we're working together, right? Number 1 is that you're going to unleash your unicorn power. That's that thing, that uniqueness, that beauty that no one else has that you have. I'm going to teach you how to stand out and shine. I'm going to show you how to own your own story. And together, we're going to learn to walk in next level confidence. In addition to the 5-week signature mentorship program, I also have a program where you can work with me one-on-one. This is my hot seat coaching packages. I invite you to book an exploration call so that we can see if working together is a good fit. You can reach me. My office is at 702-826-1299, or simply send me a direct message or email norman@overthetopliving.com. A disclaimer: the views and opinions expressed by the guests of What's the LGBT are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of What's the LGBT or Norman J. Liverpool IV as a brand. Tonight's topic may be sensitive and is not intended for minors. Viewer discretion is advised. So I want to talk to you a little bit about our LGBTQ spotlight. And I'm really, really excited about this particular person. He is an author, an activist, and a coach to the LGBTQIA plus community and its allies. Todd Kane is the author of the book Hide and Seek, There's No Truth in Fear. Let me tell you something, honey. Last week, we started a book club reading this book. And I've been in several different book clubs before, but I've never been in a book club where the author is participating. And so we meet every Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific. And if you're interested, I will have the link posted in the comment section following this broadcast. Go to wait, I think I have it here. Yes. You're going to go to www.iamtoddkane.com/book Okay, y'all, that's simple. Go to the website /book, pick up your copy of the book, send me a message and let me know, and I'll add you to our very private and exclusive Facebook group. So, honey, we have come to the part of the show which you know I love. It is called The Gag, honey. And this week, honey, the gag is something that I'm so happy to present. So, transgender icon Marsha P. Johnson is to be honored with a monument in her hometown of Elizabeth, New Jersey. The legacy of LGBTQ civil rights leader Marsha P. Johnson will be set in stone after 166,000 people signed a petition to have her honored posthumously in her hometown of Elizabeth, New Jersey. Officials in Union City, where Elizabeth is the largest city, with approximately 125,000 residents, announced on Thursday that a statue of Johnson will be created near her hometown city hall. County officials, Johnson's family, and statewide LGBTQ group Garden State Equality plan to host a series of public events during October, which is LGBTQ History Month, to encourage the public to participate in the planning and the creating of this monument. Baby, if you do not know who she is, Marsha P. Johnson died in 1992 under suspicious circumstances, but she is best known for her role in the 1969 Stonewall Uprising and for her work supporting low-income LGBTQ people of color. Alongside fellow transgender pioneer Sylvia Rivera, Johnson co-founded the Street Transvestite Action Revolutionaries, which was a political collective that provided housing for queer youth and sex workers in Lower Manhattan. So I am so excited. I am so excited. New Jersey, this is a win for you. Thank you so much for honoring the legacy of Miss Marsha P. Johnson. So now, honey, all right, y'all can get nervous. Those of you that are in the background studio, it is time to introduce my special guest. First, we have Leslie Caldwell, who is a phenomenal woman, honey. She is a former a student and a graduate of Trinity Christian College, and she holds a bachelor's degree in psychology. She currently holds a position at Camelot Therapeutic Day School, where she specializes in teaching middle-aged children with behavioral disorders and special needs. She states that she absolutely loves what she does. She is also the mother of 4 beautiful, energetic children, Jackson, Jordan, Journey, and the newest addition, Jersey. I think Jersey was a surprise for all of us. So as you can see, she definitely has her hands full. She is a firm believer in God, and she knows that it is only by his grace and mercy that she is here today to fulfill her goals and walk in her truth. Next, we have Ricky Kellogg. Ricky Kellogg, born and raised in Chicago, in the south suburbs of Chicago, and now currently living in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Started and continued his management development career from 2004 till 2020. He currently works in the banking world with U.S. Bank in the loan department and is also continuing his education in finance. 3 fun facts about Ricky. He loves the White Sox. He loves to travel, and he is a huge Marvel nerd, a Marvel fan and nerd. Next, we have Miss Asia Jamal Rogers, who also is known as Songbird. She is an entrepreneur, a singer and songwriter, and a host of Pure, which is perfectly undefined, raw elegance. Her vision is to use her testimony and talents to encourage and uplift, and she's doing that with her music and with her show Pure. She is a mother, a wife, and a grandmother. I'm throwing that in there because she's my cousin and I want to. And she currently works in IT project management. She's one of the what did she say? She's one of the 12 first cousins and grandchildren of Reverend Hazel Fort, and she was the first to provide a grandchild. Yes, she was. She definitely was the first. And last but certainly not least, honey, My good Judy, Doris Osorio, honey. She was born and raised in the Humboldt Park area of Chicago. Doris started working within the inner city in her late teens and is still doing so to this day. Doris has a huge heart for the community and has created programs for at-risk youth nationwide and continues to put forth effort in restoring the community one life at a time. So without further ado, y'all, please welcome my special guest, Leslie, Ricky, Asia, and Doris. Hi, y'all.
Hey.
Hold on, let me see something here. Oh, there we go. Just a little. There we go. So we be a bit more full. All right, y'all. So I really quick before we get into our show, I want to take a look at the comments. Let's see. Oh, hey, Jazzy. Thank you so much for being here. We got Liz's Journey, Trinity Christian College alumni here as well.
Whoop, whoop.
Oh, I love that. Well, all I can say is I attended, but I'm definitely not alumni.
Me neither, Norman. Me neither.
Hey, Doris, I love that. Yes, so really quick, I want to invite you guys to introduce yourselves outside of what I just said, but I want you to introduce yourself with the premise of talking about one of your first memories with me. So we'll start with Leslie.
Ooh, let's start when, when I first arrived on campus. Well, Trinity Christian College is a predominantly Caucasian, surroundings. So I was pretty much nervous because I'm like, okay, I need to see some more of my kind. What is going on? And I first met Norman when we had to go to a chapel. And I see Norman walking down the aisle, just fast paced, just walking, sashaying. I said, oh, I know good and well. So he comes to sit by me. I'm like, okay, I can deal with this. So we started talking. We clicked instantly. Like we laughed so hard to that chapel. We were laughing at one of the singers. I'm not gonna say her name. That performed that day, and from then on, we've been the best of friends since that day.
And it's crazy because I met Leslie in 2004.
Yes.
I was freshly 18.
You had to use dress to impress.
But y'all also used to get me together. Y'all used to talk about my little clothes and stuff. All right, Ricky, what about you?
Same thing. Well, we met, I think it was orientation for the freshmen or something like that. I do remember Leslie, everyone that we all know and grown together. I remember just you being the moment where I was like, oh God, you were just so super outgoing. I was and hilarious. And we had to do some about scouting hunt or something like that. And around the campus. And I remember I don't know, it was just you, for me, it was just you were just so, I felt over the top living Norman already at that moment. And he's just super cool. And I was like, oh, wow. I'm more reserved to a certain degree, but I feel you got along with everyone, and you definitely, for me, you just the kindest person. So, I definitely appreciate and, love you, that. So,
yeah, and I love you too, Ricky. All right, Miss Asia Jamal Rogers, aka Songbird.
Yes, that is who I am. Asia Jamal Rogers. Songbird is my stage name, music name. I am a singer-songwriter. First memory. So yeah, I am his cousin. I'm his first cousin. So we have many, many memories. But I will say the earliest I can remember is him doing my Aunt Sarah's hair. And I knew then that he was a man of style and fashion because he kept her on point. She was out, her hair was done on makeup was done on point. So I already knew then. I was like, okay, I'm gonna end up taking some pointers from this one right here. So that I would say that probably the earliest memory of him.
And you know what? That's so beautiful that you share that. Is a lot of the people that I know now didn't have the opportunity to meet my grandma Sarah because she died when I was 17. And she literally was like my person, right? Like she was the person that, I mean, showed me unconditional love from the very beginning. And so it was nothing for me to be in the kitchen with a hot iron on the stove. I was girl sizzling that stuff and painting her nails and all of that. And she allowed me to do it. And that was what was so beautiful about our relationship. So thank you for sharing that, girl. All right, lastly, but certainly not least, we have Miss Doris Osorio.
Well, our first memory, we were on a blind date together. My cousin actually.
Leslie looks confused. She was like, "What you mean?"
I'm like, what?
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if you want me to go into it right now.
Go into it.
Yes, please.
So my, a close family friend, cousin kind of mine, Sharina, she knew Norman and she knew me. And she came up with this grand idea that me and Norman would make an amazing couple.
Shady.
So, see? So she tells me, she's like, hey, I know this guy, we're going to go out, come meet him, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. Fine, we go. I don't get ready, I don't remember exactly. All I know is when I got in the car and he was like, hi, how are you? I was like, hi. And in my mind, I was like, why would she set me up with? And I forgot what he was playing on the radio. I was like,
I was playing Mary Mary. Okay, because I just got my new stereo in my Camry, honey, and you couldn't tell me nothing.
What? Yeah, except I asked him if he could change it. And we've been best friends ever since. Like,
yeah, that's my girl. Like, the thing with Doris is, girl, and you want to know what's crazy, Doris, about that day? I don't know if I ever told you, but that night, that was the first time I overdrew my bank account. Because I had just gotten a debit card, and like I didn't realize that back then they would give you money if you didn't have money in your account. I remember going to the co-op on 47th Street and they're like, "You want cash back?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, I want cash back." And so I went to 3 other places before I picked you up. And they were like, "Do you want cash back?" Hell yeah, I want cash. But yeah, that was so crazy. I definitely remember that. So I want to talk to you. The reason why I invited you guys on the show, not just because I needed like a break and needed to kiki, but I think it's really important for people to understand that even though you guys love and accept me now, right, that might not have always been the case. And the reason why that's important is because we want to show other people that love is love. When you love somebody, you love them, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to start with Asia, and we're going to take this question around. Did you ever feel conflicted between your faith and like the way you felt for me as your cousin and friend? Oh, she's frozen. Ooh. Oh, okay. I was about to say maybe you weren't meant to answer that. No, you're good now.
Okay. I wouldn't say conflicted. I'd say concerned. So, nothing you ever did or said ever made me feel like any different about you or made me with you any less. However, with my faith and everything and the things that I believe in, I was concerned for your soul, and I didn't know what was going on. And I don't know if you remember, but we had a lot of back and forth, like Q&A, I'll call it, so that I could understand what was actually going on with you. Because I think the first time that I actually had a lengthy conversation with you, you were in some kind of church, and you were trying to explain to me what they were preaching and where they were bringing it and all of that. And I've always been open to what is right, what is true. I'm not the kind of person that's just like stuck on an opinion. If I feel like, like if I'm raised a certain way, that doesn't mean that's it. That's all. I'm open. But I've loved my Norman the same, regardless of what I've been taught or what I've been believing in, and I still feel the same way today. So that I'd say that's really the only difference. I just wanted to know in my heart of hearts that your soul was okay.
All right. I like it. So I'm gonna move to Doris to this one because me and Doris actually kind of explored church together. She mentioned her friend Sharina. I was really good friends with Sharina's husband, Octavio. And what's really interesting about Octavio's position with Ricky and Leslie is I had never heard of Trinity Christian College before I met Octavio. So when I started going to Spalding Church, he was like, "Oh, I'm going to this college. You should come and check it out." And so he invited me on that overnight. Do you remember that, like the year before freshman? It was like our senior year where they had like an overnight type of thing. And then like the parents came the next day. And so Octavio actually introduced me to Trinity. And what was so crazy about it is he ended up not going to Trinity because Sharina got pregnant. Or something, or they were, like they were starting their family at that time.
Yeah.
So the person that brought me and Doris together essentially also brought me and Leslie and Ricky together because I had never heard of Trinity Christian College. Like my mom was hell bent on me going to Oral Roberts in Tulsa. And when I went to Trinity, like the other guy, there was another counselor, and I knew he was gay. Like I picked up on it, and I knew at that moment that's where I needed to be. And it wasn't because like he was gay or whatever, but in that moment I just knew that's where I needed to be. So Doris, have you ever felt conflicted between your faith and your friendship with me?
So I feel like this is a very loaded question because I think when I met you, I was really finding refuge in religion. So everything that they taught me, I ran with it. I took it. I was doing a discipleship program at that time. I was working heavily with youth in Humboldt Park, and things like that. Really a lot of outreaches and things. So when we met, and to backtrack a little, but at the same time, I always feel like I kept trying to be who I was. Like I didn't want to be like one of those cutter, the ones that just say what they say but don't know exactly why they say it. Relationship for me was very important. So with that being said, I believed that it didn't bring a conflict per se, but it brought growth and understanding and questioning. So I guess a little bit of conflict, but it was because I never could look at you and say he's going to go to hell because he's partaking in homosexual acts. I never could fathom that. I couldn't fathom that this God who loves us, you know what I'm saying, would pinpoint that, and so as I continued in my journey of like growth and really self-reflection and questioning and wondering, I don't want to say it brought conflicts per se, but it really did give me a different perspective, you know, where to now I find myself reaching back to some of my youth and apologizing to them, you know, and going back and saying, I'm so sorry. Like, who the heck are we? Like, you know, to say this, that, and the third, and really just trying to love them as humans so much, you know, that I wish I could have been loved and cared for as just a simple human. You know, I felt like there were areas of my life that I put away because of religion, such as sexuality and being curious or free or whatever it may be, you know. So I don't want to say it brought conflict per se, but I know it did add to my growth, you know, and was able to really just help me step out of this box that I was really in for a really long time.
I appreciate that, girl. So I'm calling Leslie out because Leslie, so me and Leslie have only fallen out one time. I'm bringing it up. Me and Leslie have only fallen. So the thing is, so at Trinity Christian College, like they had these different dorms, and like I was in West Hall. And where were you at freshman year? Yeah, South. You were South. Okay. So the way that it was on Mondays, they did not allow.
They called it gay day, remember?
Right,
They
they literally called it gay day because on Mondays, guys could. Someone. Oh, okay. I guess someone had some sound going on in the background. So on Mondays, which was called gay day, you guys could not go into the female dorms and females could not go into the male dorms. And so a funny story, which I'll share later when I first let Leslie drive my car, but me and Leslie fought, girl, she broke my door, honey. But listen, so the very first time me and Leslie fell out it was on a Tuesday or Wednesday. And I was so excited because on Mondays, we had to stay in our own hall, vice versa. And one of the reason we fell out was because she called me a faggot. And it wasn't like, and I want to preface that because I'm not attacking Leslie. Leslie is one of my girlfriends. Okay, this is my closest friend. But when you're thinking about like that time, like who knows what was going through our minds. But right. I remember, baby, you couldn't tell me nothing. I opened that door so she knew I heard what she said, and then I stormed out back to West Hall. So, Leslie, and the thing is, I feel like out of everyone here, I feel like me and you are the closest. Mm-hmm. What was that like for you to be like, well, clearly you have your faith, but we got along.
Well, actually, at that time, I wouldn't say as far as my faith goes, because I was still trying to find myself during that time too. I was going to all Christian college. Honestly, I wasn't really supposed to be there. My mind was going, I was wanting to go to Fisk University to be this Jubilee singer. You know what I'm saying? That was my mindset. I wasn't trying to go to no Christian college. So that was the first time that was new for me. So, and then meeting you and then the others that I came in contact with, like you guys honestly changed my life, like tremendously, especially while I was there. And with you, Norman, like, me, like you weren't the first gay person I ever met because I had friends prior to me coming to Trinity that were gay, so that wasn't something new. So I honestly, when we had that falling out, I came to you like, Norman, I feel so bad, I'm sorry, because I shouldn't say that. I was so pissed at each other, so that was just something I decided anger. You knew I was, but so at that time, my faith I don't think was really being compromised. Because I had a friend like you, like I love people regardless. I don't care. Like that's just me. I get along with pretty much anybody. So I'm like, hey, this is another person I just have more fun with. Like, we was clowning in college. We acted a plum fool.
Did we not? Ricky, did we not show our asses?
Oh my God. Yeah.
So like, I'm like, okay. And like that was something too different for me. So I'm like, okay, we can do this at a Christian college. Like this like remind me of like a regular college to me, like
Well, because
Trinity Christian.
because what we were doing was off campus, but then we came back on campus. That was
You
the
know,
thing.
right? So I'm like, so at the same time though, like like I said, when I first met you, everything was like it wasn't something new to me because I was used to it already. I had friends that were gay, like I said, so I was like, okay, it's another friend to add on to my list. So hey,
Girl. So I want to go. So Ricky, so I
Yeah.
really am interested to hear your take on this because as life progressed, we both grow, we come into our own, and we figure out like who we are. So, what was that like for you? And I'll let you tell your own story, but like, what was that like for you having someone in your circle like me? Well, we were all kind of young and trying to figure things out.
Yeah, definitely. Well, for me, like going to a college where it was like I'm staying on campus, I think I knew as a young age that I felt different feelings for people and as far as guys and my sexuality. And I think I was confused. I was conflicted with it because I also grew up in a Christian school. Like I literally from third grade all the way till Trinity Christian, I always was around that. So it was instilled in me this is the belief you have to have. This is the way you have to think. This is the life that you have to do. And then if you step out of that, then that's displeasing to God. So for me, it turned to like just kind of not being sure of myself. And it kind of like, for me, it took a while for me to like, I guess, like friends, like it was people that was like, no, like if you're okay, like it took to have those conversations with certain people to like actually open up and just be like, oh wow, like people, like it's actually okay, like I'm not the only one struggling with this or whatever. So it helped me in terms of like our conversations and the friendships that I have had with the people I've known at Trinity with you all. And it just took that maturity and growth. And like you said, like we were babies when we got there. We was fresh out of high school, and now it's like now y'all live on campus and you can do whatever you want. So not under supervision at all.
We had to smoke. We had to smoke a shack.
Yeah. Like what? So yeah, it took a minute, but it was like eventually, yeah, I obviously now like in life, like I've accepted who I am and I'm super happy. And I feel like I see you and I feel like super happy. So I feel like it just took that time to like have that growth, go through those experiences, but then also the relationships that we've built with other people too, that has helped definitely. So for me, it was a challenge at first, like when I first got there, but eventually it's just like the walls, like just building up those walls, it just started crumbling down and I was more to accept myself. And then obviously it just, I can be loved and, accept
And
myself.
what was interesting about that,
Yeah.
Ooh, hold on. Someone has some background. Hold on. Let me see. Testing. Okay. I guess it's gone. But what was really interesting for my time at Trinity is I felt like the people that now I probably would be the closest to in terms of experience.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like we kind of kept away from each other. Like it was almost like we didn't want to get too close. And I remember there was a member of our class who, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And he had a concert at school and literally basically told people, I'm confessing that I am gay.
Yep.
And I don't like it. I don't want it.
Yes.
And what is so crazy now, looking full circle, I can count on my fingers and toes how many gay people have come out of there, right?
A lot.
Baby. But I felt like even for us, like even if we had kind of recognized that in one another, it was almost like, ooh, I don't want to get too close because then that might expose something. And even though I'm exposing it just by walking and talking, I feel like, did you feel that way? Like we kind of kind of kept each other at bay. Like I feel like with you and some of the other people that end up coming out afterwards.
I think to a certain degree, yeah. Like we when we were doing stuff as a group, it'd be, but we never like. I felt like we never had that one-on-one where it was like so, like just talk, just have a talk, like as far as opening up. But we never did. But I will say, yeah, how you said it was a lot of people. Like it was people that I don't even have a gaydar, so I don't even know. But I was like, it was people that I was just like, oh shit, oh okay. So, but hey, it is what it is. Like we don't put a limit. Like I feel like at the end of the day, as long as you like live your truth and you finally just at peace, then that's good.
Right.
I don't care what age you finally get there, but hopefully you do get there, because no one should ever like kind of hide who you are.
Right.
And I'm gonna let Asia, I'm gonna bring you and Doris on, but Leslie, I want to share this to you because I don't know if I ever shared this with you, but my mom went to Fisk.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so that's what she said. Once a Fiskite, always a Fiskite. And not only that, but my sister went to Fisk.
Oh yeah.
And so I don't know that
that was my dream. I wanted to be a Jubilee singer so bad.
Yeah, listen. So what I'm gonna do, y'all, and this normally does not happen, but I forgot to plug my charger in. So I'm gonna grab my charger. But while I do that, Asia, I want you to talk a little bit about, and take your time, about what it was like growing up with me. As you mentioned, we are each one of 12 on our maternal grandmother's side. And so I'm interested to hear, and I won't hear it because I got to grab my charger, but if you would share with the audience what it was like growing up with someone, well, not someone like me, what was like growing up with me?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and share what I think he's asking. So yes, it was 12 of us, and we all kind of hung out together on a regular basis. We all had our own individual personalities, but my mother's mother's side of the family, we were known as like Mercer, so we called ourselves the Mercer crew. It's like, y'all don't know this, the Mercer crew. That's the way that we were, and I always noticed that Norman was different from the rest of us, but I didn't really know what that meant, and it really didn't. Sarah, I see you in the back. Hey, I didn't know what that meant, and honestly, I didn't care what that meant. I mean, it was Norman. As my buddy. We were all close. We were all friends. We were all, it wasn't until we became teenagers that certain things started to become more obvious, and with labels attached to them. And, we had a certain member of the family that would point those things out. And I could tell that my sweet Norman was
Okay, well, I'm gonna see, she's cute because she said a certain member of her family, and so because she said that, I'm not going to put a name to it. Okay, but yeah, you know who you are. Love you.
Yeah. So, but I could tell that Norman was hurting. I could tell that there were things he was trying to figure out, and all I wanted to do was just be a friend to him. I just wanted to. If I could, I would have came from him because I love him that much. I didn't know how to fix it. I didn't know what to do about it. So I just loved on him, and then he just up and moved, and I eventually moved too because I got married and moved. But when he just up and left, I was like, "But why? Because what? Like what are you doing? What is the plan? I didn't understand everything that was going on, and then he went through some phases or whatever, and it scared me because I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, help me understand what's going on because it seems like you're
Can
in
you
pain and
talk a
you're
little
not
bit
well.
about? Can you talk a little bit? Not to cut you off, but can you talk a little bit about what you mean by phases? Because I want someone who may be
Okay,
identifying
sure.
with
I
this story.
didn't.
Oh yeah, it's
Sure,
open.
I
Yeah, it's
wasn't sure
open.
if you wanted me to go into that, but so what I mean is, there were some I feel like reckless phases. The heavy drinking and just party mode kind of situation, and it really scared me because I felt like I was going one day where he's in the hospital or had a horrible accident or something like that because it just seemed like he was trying to drink his pain away. And it I don't want to get emotional. Ugh. Uh, it it hurt my heart so bad because I could tell he was just hurting and he was just acting out, and I didn't know what to do about it. I didn't fix it, and he wasn't letting me in either. Because I feel like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like you felt like we just didn't understand, and I mean like the family members outside of your immediate family,
Well,
like
for me,
we didn't
it wasn't
understand
so
or we
much.
were not.
It wasn't so much that I felt like you guys didn't understand. It was that I didn't understand, and so when I don't understand something, to have someone who is supposed to be your uncle or your godfather that is pointing out these things, when you have someone that's your grandmother who is saying these things, and I want to preface this by saying I'm not saying anything out of hate or malice. I'm 34 years old. Most of the people that affected me negatively, I don't even have a relationship with today. But in that moment, I just was like, will someone hear me? I'm just wanting to be me. I didn't know that by me being a certain way that read, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know that translated to that. And so I think for me, and I think me and you were the closest at the time because you're the one that knew that I had like been dating guys and stuff before anybody. And I felt comfortable with that, but I'll be honest, part of it was kind of a test. I wanted to test you to see, like, okay, is she going to tell her parents? Like how that, like, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to see like how much I could tell you because, we have other people in our line that I just am not going to tell nothing to. And so, I mean, if we're just being completely honest, I don't talk to most of our cousins anyway. And so it kind of was a test to see like, okay, can I trust her to hold this space for me that I'm still trying to figure this out?
Yeah. I hope I passed the test.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're here. You're here today. You're here today. But I want to move quick to Doris because I think me and you, Doris, have a very unique. I mean, obviously, like we were on a blind
but
date.
y'all do. I'm my first time hearing it.
So.
I love him.
And the thing is, Leslie knows Octavio. Leslie has met Octavio. Leslie has met Sharita.
Right.
Leslie has met all these people.
Family.
Yeah. So I'm curious to hear from you because Doris, first of all, I want to say that I admire all the work that you're doing in the city, in the Humboldt Park community, what you're doing nationally to provide a platform for youth. What would you say to, if we were to go back all those years, what would you have said to me then?
To love yourself. I think going back to religion or whatnot, because I feel like the real cool thing about our relationship was, because I'm really bad with time management, right? And those who are close to me know that like I get stuck in a routine, and if you're in my routine, I'm amazing. I'll call you every day. But if you're not, it's really hard for me to, okay, I'm working on it, to stay in contact with people, right? So me and you, I feel like we would reconnect every few, every so often or whatnot. But it would be like we would just pick up and go on. It's so funny because as I was hearing Asia speak about like growing up with you and things, I was going back. Do you remember that girl you dated after I told you that you shouldn't be dating girls?
You're talking about the girl that I was. So yes, I do remember her, and Leslie remembers her as well.
See, I was gonna bring that up, but I am like, let me wait.
So when I met Doris, was I already at Trinity or no?
No, I don't believe so.
So I think I met Doris I think I met her when me and Kristen were on a break. I think me and Kristen were on a break because I feel like me and Doris hung out between Kristen and Keita. Like because remember Keita was like on my way out of Trinity and I dated her after Trinity.
Wait, you dated Keita after Trinity?
Well, yeah, because remember she left, then she had her son, and then I left, and then we started dating outside. Like when we weren't even none of us were going to Trinity.
Oh, okay, you're right. Okay.
So, but Leslie, now this is interesting for you. So now knowing this dynamic of me and Doris, like what is going through your mind? Like,
I honestly know because like I'm not gonna lie, when you first brought, I can say her name, right? Chris, I can say her name.
Yeah, I mean,
when you first brought Kristen to campus, I'm like, okay, wait, he got a girlfriend? What is going on? Okay, because I'm like, okay. So that right there was like, okay, maybe he bi, maybe he, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know. I'm like, okay, but I knew he was gay. I'm like, okay. So then and she's like a very pretty girl. Like, I'm like, he's getting these beautiful girls. Like, and Doris, you pretty too. So I'm like, he pulling them. He really pulling them.
Hey,
so I'm like,
this one, girl.
So then that's why I'm like, okay, wait a minute. What is like? But that's when like I'm like, that's when I remember. I don't know if you remember the conversation. Like I'm like Norman, and I know George has said something too that she told you like Norman, you need to really stop dating these girls because like I'm like Norman, you need to really like find yourself because I know this ain't what you want. That ain't what you want. So I'm like, Norman, come on now, like that right there. That's like that was the confusing part for me, and it was like also too like, how can I'm still your friend, but I'm still want you to know like Norman, like it's better if you just be yourself, like just do what do what makes you happy. And I know you. To me, I feel like you didn't women or bringing women around was like a cover up. So like, you know what I'm saying? To people think like, okay, and you're somewhere and you're not that way. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I wish he would just be himself because like honestly, Norman, you are a great person. You really are. You really are. You really, really are. So like, I just wanted you to just be Norman. Like, just be Norman.
And be comfortable with it.
Yes.
So I'm going to switch over to my friend Ricky because I'm not giving him enough attention, and he likes that. He likes to be kind of background in the cut. Like,
yeah, he's very, very quiet.
My question to you, Ricky, and I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. I think you said it. Like, you identify as gay. Like, it's okay for me to say that. And so, have your views about being part of the LGBTQ plus community changed from then? Because I know the reason why I ask you that is for me, it was so much self-hate and it was so much self-sabotage that I just could never bring myself to being like, I'm gay. Like, even like I would have girlfriends and I mean, I was, doing whatever I was doing, apart from that, but it was because I was taught that you could not say the word, like you couldn't admit that. And if you did, so how was that for you?
Well, for me, I think it changed as far as like admitting to it. That was like just being honest with myself and like, hey, like this is what you like, this is what it is. And as far as the community itself, I think I wasn't too sure of it because I was like, well, I don't know, like, how does this work? Like, I'm like, I don't, like, what do you even start with it? And at the time too, like when we were like at that age, like it wasn't the apps that they have now and all these other dating stuff. It was just kind of like just figure it
Craigslist.
out. Like, you don't know. So it was just a different time. But like for me, it was, I didn't have nothing as far as my perception of that community itself. I didn't really know what to think of it because I wasn't too sure of like how do I even put myself out there, or how do you even start like that process of like, oh, you want to date someone, or if you like someone. It's just kind of like that guessing game. Like you just don't know unless someone admittedly just said it, and then that was it. So for me, it was just more of like I don't know, and the people that if I went out on dates or whatever, it will always be the immature ones, because I felt like everyone was still discovering themselves. So like when people say like, oh, they won't date no one that's 21, it's the reason why sometimes. Because it's like you kind of like you just don't really know, and you're just very like, oh, whatever, and you just can't like, they feel like you won't be able to settle. I feel like some people can, but for me it was like I was still like discovering what that was. And then as far as the dating, I really didn't do it as much as I should have, but yeah.
And I see, for me, I think I did it too much. And I think that's part of like when, as my cousin said, I ran, like when I came to Vegas, it was not like, hey, everyone, I'm moving in 3 months or XYZ. It was, I bought a plane ticket. I'm leaving Thursday. I'm not coming back.
Yeah.
And Jonathan, who is a really good friend of mine that I met at Trinity, who also is connected. It's crazy how we're all connected, but I just remember that time being so confusing. Like, it was like, your first time living away from home, even though I think I lived the closest out of the 3 of us to where I lived. But for the first time, like being away and then meeting people and also questioning, well, am I really? Like, that was huge for me. Am I really this way? Is this for real, or is this just something kind of I've entertained, but now I'm adult, I'm grown. And so and even the whole situation with me and Kita, like, I feel like that should have never even happened. Like,
should have never.
As much as
you ain't lying.
Well, the thing about this is Kita, what I will say about Kita, and it makes me emotional every time I think about her, because I truly loved her. And she showed up for me in ways that nobody would show up for me. And Leslie, you know how she was about her family. So
yeah.
she would disobey her family to come and be with me.
Yeah.
And I just remember, like, me and Kita go way, way back, even to when me and my grandma lived in our first apartment, or our first condo together. But what trips me out about it is when my grandmother died, Kita was at that funeral. And it fucked me up, because typically, if it was me, I would be like, I want to go up to you so you know that I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. But what she did was so classy. And to the day I die, I will never, ever forget it. As I was driving, she texted me and said, you gave your grandmother a beautiful service. I ate at her table, so I felt like I should be there, but I didn't want to disrupt what was going on. She didn't say a word to me. I didn't even know she was there. And for that, I'm grateful. Because she showed me something that I had never seen before. And, she'll tell her side of the story when she wants to tell her side of the story. But we both met each other at a time where we both were figuring things out. And I feel like we latched on to each other because our families were like, this is what things should look like. And I felt like it was just like, okay, well, girl, like, hey
Because
girl,
her family was like really like in the church and stuff, like really, really heavily,
girl, deep.
real
Deep,
deep.
deep in the church. And so, and even speaking to the point that I was around her family after Trinity.
Mhm.
So it was like I was dating this person. Like it wasn't like we were just like hanging out. Like I was in a relationship with her. I was around her family. I was around her child, Let her tell her story one day, but that I think we were so similar that I feel like we latched on to each other.
Mhm.
And even you remember, Leslie, I used to make fun of her in college. Remember?
Yeah.
I used to, because I felt like, ooh, she really sees me. And so I would take the attention. We would call her all kind of names. And so,
Don't say no we. No. Oh,
you did too. Maybe you did too. We called her check it to cash. Kita, I love you, but we did, but I feel like I just feel like we did what we needed to do in that time frame. And oh wait, hold up, Leslie. My sister said, "Oh, she knows the car that you broke, honey. That was my Bonneville when she drove it to the village." So
I'm
the
sorry.
village, so the girl. But let me tell you one thing about Leslie, honey. She is a ride or die. There was one time it was me, Leslie, Giolina, and I don't know who the hell else. We were driving down Michigan Avenue. Baby, when I tell you Leslie was driving dirtier than I don't know what, I didn't even know people could drive dirty. She was like, "Oh shoot, I don't have a license and I don't have this and this." And so, baby, in 2 seconds, okay, so we got pulled over.
That was me.
Oh, okay, so baby, Leslie was in the driver's seat. Gio was in the passenger seat.
Yeah.
Baby, Gio slid under Leslie, and Leslie popped over Gio in such a way that the police did not even realize what was happening. Now, mind you, I think I'm high on weed in the back, and Leslie's like, "I can't get pulled over. I have warrants, and I have this, and so Gio, and the thing, but with Leslie is she didn't drive with shoes on. And so Leslie never drove with shoes on. So, honey, her shoes were still up under this side, and her and Gio then switched so fast. Do you remember that?
For that. I remember that.
Girl. I wouldn't know how to pull that off.
Oh,
that's a talent.
It was.
If you were scared like I was, you would have pulled it off. I thought I was going to jail.
It was something out of the movies. And in fact, Doris, we had left church or something, and we went to that ice cream shop that was up some way. You remember that one we used to go to, like up on North Avenue? Wait, I'm jealous. How is Leslie your new BFF? I'm jealous now. But it was done so beautifully. I literally didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
Like I just sat there dumb in the back.
That's what I meant by like us being at that college. Like I would never thought any of the stuff that we experienced or got into would happen at a Christian college. Like that blew me. Because I'm like, and even outside of being friends with you, like other friends I make there, like we've done some crazy things there. I'm like, this is a Christian college. Like,
well, I mean, I think it goes to show that Christians are human.
Yeah, right.
But do you remember, girl? See, that's a topic for another day because me and Leslie got into some shit back in the day. Girl, the very first time I smoked weed, I was with Leslie, and she took me somewhere far out, and I thought the trees were trying to swing on me. And I would never forget it. Kita had to take me back to my room on gay day because I could not find my dorm room. And so Kita, now if you know Kita is not small in the chest. And so Kita put on this blue hoodie and a hood and walked with her head down to my room threw me into the room, and ran out. Leslie took my car. I don't know what the hell she did with it. She must have went to the village and broke the door because when the time she brought it back, the passenger side rear door. Remember, we had to wrap the seat belt around it.
Yeah, it wouldn't close.
Yeah. Listen, I don't know about y'all, but with everything going on, I needed this. I definitely needed this.
Mm-hmm.
Asia, I want to ask you, and I'm going to ask a couple people.
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself an ally of the LGBTQ plus community?
I consider myself an ally for human beings, period. So, we've mentioned how a couple family members made you feel and, things that they've done. But I was taught in my own household was to love like Jesus did. And Jesus loved unconditionally. And I think people, especially some people in the church, forget that. The people that he talked to, the people that he brought in, he loved completely unconditionally. So I practice, or at least I try my best to practice that same love unconditionally. So whether you're a part of the LGBTQ community or a part of any other group, I love you unconditionally because that's how Jesus loved, period.
Oh, Asia, I love you. Can she be my cousin? She's so sweet.
Girl, she is your cousin. Girl, she is your cousin. And I'll say, Asia, I appreciate that. I appreciate you saying that. Doris, the question to you, do you consider yourself an ally of the LGBTQ plus community?
Yes, hands down.
Why?
My answer, I won't get because
wait a minute.
Well, I'm going through my own journey and through my own growth. So I don't consider myself per se Christian anymore. You know what I'm saying? I have a lot of questions when it comes to that. I want to know what my people believed in before we got colonized and this religion was forced on us. So I'm kind of like on a whole different front when it comes to that. So for what many people don't know is that I was churched for 15 years of my life. And I mean like Bible, college, missionary trips, full throttle. I love youth. I still do love youth, So I had to go through my own journey and really even cope with some things that we all go through in church and religious settings, and things of that matter. But the reason why I consider my allies because love is love. And at the end of the day, I'm not going to look down on something that has power to heal somebody, has power to encourage somebody, has power to be, that person that another person may need in their lives. I have people in my family who, are lesbian, gay, whatever it may be. And there was never a time in my life where I ever could, like I said, like I could ever look at them any different because they chose to love someone, you know? So even when I was churched, it was always a battle with me. It was always like a conflict, like why? And then it would kill me with the hypocrisy because a male could go ahead and sleep around throughout the whole church and he'd be okay, but God forbid
you better preach that thing, girl.
You get what I'm saying? So, and look, you don't want me to start now.
I'm trying to tell you.
So I never understood that. I never understood why they would look at this one sin and make it so much bigger than everything else, and at the same time be judging, be casting, and I never got that. So, I left the church in 2016 and I've kind of just been on my thing. I'm just really trying to, I guess, get back into the roots. Things are getting ugly now. I'm a political science major and I'm almost done with that degree and I can't wait. I really want to focus on educating our people, not only policies and how they affect, marginalized communities, but I also want to educate our people on how our people used to move, how our people healed each other, the rituals that we believed in, because our people believed in a God. They believed that God wasn't everything. When the colonizers came, our people were so godly that they accepted them. You get what I'm saying? And tried to welcome them and show them love, so that's kind of where I'm headed. And it's a journey that I'm hoping, of course, Norman's going to help me. And so I say all that to say, this is why I'm an ally, because to me, it just never made sense that I could look down or frown upon something because of what has been taught to me. And births anger and hatred. I remember being on a missionary trip that we went to Mardi Gras. And we would go there really just to speak to people about Jesus. And I remember walking across a group of Christians who had these posters. They're like, you're going to hell. Gays are going to hell. Like, blah, 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 blah. And I remember there was this man and he looked so broken. And my heart broke. Like, when I tell you that my heart was shattered, I went up to him and hugged him. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I promise you we're not all like that. Because I was just like, what are we doing? Like, why is this the way that they decided to portray this all-loving God? So I've always just felt that love is tender. Love, yeah, it's correcting. Yes, it's this. Yes, it's that. But it shouldn't be breaking people. So I've always had that instilled in me, and I've always felt like I always had to stay, I'm loud. I gotta say something. I gotta stick up for someone. I got to, because it's not fair. So that's why.
Now,
Sorry.
Leslie, I see. No, Leslie's wheels are turning, honey. What do you have to say about that?
No, I'll just I agree with her 100% because, like I said, I was raised in the church too. Then I was taught that no one should be with the same sex and this and third. That's how I was taught. I was brought up like that, just biblically. Just
I could spit scripture.
You know what I'm saying?
So, I bet Romans 127. I could just spit them.
So and it's kind of weird because my niece is my age. We actually grew up in the same house. We grew up as sisters. She came out not too long ago. And I dare not to change up on her because she loves.
Wait a minute. Wait. What did you just say?
Oh.
I know exactly which niece you're talking about too.
Right.
Yes, girl. You don't even have to say her name.
Right. You know what I mean? So I would not change up on her because she loves a woman or just because she, like you said, loves someone else. We're supposed to do that. We're supposed to love. So I'm not gonna change up on her for that. I may not have to agree. I don't have to agree with what she does, but I'm not gonna stop loving her because something we have a disagreement or something our opinions are different. Right. You know what I'm saying? Who are we? We sin. Her sin is not bigger than mine. It may be a sin. Exactly. I don't know. It may be a sin to some other people. It may not be a sin to some people, but her sin is not bigger than mine. I sin every day. So who's to say, okay, God's gonna say, oh, you're going to hell because you love a woman. Okay, where am I going to hell for? I sin too, so what am I going to hell for? You know what I mean? So I agree. I don't understand. I don't get it, but I'm not going to change up on people because their opinions or their preferences are different than mine.
So Asia, I see a little bit. Do you have something that you want to add to that? And the only reason why I asked is because I appreciate the diversity in all of you being here, and we're all in different places at different stages. And what's so amazing about your story is that it's yours. Mm-hmm. And what I tell even my clients that I'm coaching is you never know what part of your story is a part of someone else's survival guide.
Mm-hmm. It's going to help them.
Right. Mm-hmm. So do you have anything to add to that, Asia? Just because as your cousin, I know your spiritual stance, and I really want you to be represented here as well because you're my family and I love you and you love me. Ooh.
I absolutely do. Well, I'll say this. And for those that listen, I don't know if any of the listeners will find this as harsh, but this is my true belief, and I'm going to say it as bluntly as possible because that's how I am. I feel like if you open your mouth and say, I hate you because you are gay, or you're going straight to hell because you are gay. You are not a follower of Christ, therefore you are not a Christian. That is my belief. The reason I say this, here's why this is what I back this up with. As I said before, Jesus loved completely, unconditionally. There are examples in the Bible where he spoke to people where others would be like, don't talk to that woman, don't talk to that person. She's a whore, she's a prostitute, she's whatever. Sin is sin. But Jesus said, those who are without sin, that's the first stone. And the way that he loved on people, he loved them unconditionally. There was nothing that you could say or you could do that would have Jesus say, oh yeah, you right, condemn this person straight to hell. I hate you. That's not how Jesus operated. And your relationship with God is your relationship with God. Who am I to say that your relationship with God is unholy, you don't have one, and you're on your way to hell? I don't have the power to say one way or the other.
Right.
So it is my strong belief that if you sit there and say, this person is on their way to hell, you don't know God and you don't know Christ. You know him a little better, and then you'll know otherwise. That is my belief. And I learned that from my own parents because, like we say, you live and you learn and we grow. And I watched my parents grow, and as they grew, they helped me grow. And we feel the same way. Your relationship is your relationship with God. I still believe in the Most High. I still believe in the Bible. I still believe in the scriptures. But in the Bible, if you actually read it thoroughly, you'll see that the personality of God is all loving. He's all merciful. And because of that, who are you to say, I'm better than you, I'm on my way to heaven, but you're on your way to hell? You don't know the person's relationship with Christ. It doesn't even make sense. It doesn't make logical sense either. So that's how I feel about
those
it.
Those are the ones who's going to hell on the first flat slope to hell first.
Okay, as my granny, remember Granny said you're going to hell in a gasoline handbasket.
Right, first, time to tell you.
Wow. Well, listen, guys, I just feel like, so just so you all know, the month of October, I'm doing my repeats. So all of the episodes that get the most views in July, August, and September, we're going to repeat. I can already feel a repeat coming on. So just get ready. I want to thank you. Leslie, you're muted. Say it so we can hear you.
I said part 2. All right.
Yes. And the reason why I chose this cast to be here is because when Asia is, how like my sister was my first friend. Look at girl, you got mama talking to you, Leslie.
Hey, Mama Franklin girl.
Asia was my second friend outside of my sister. So she was the person that I was closest to. I mean, it was nothing. Like when I would spend the night, I would always fall asleep on her floor and like watching the Steve Harvey show, whatever the shit was on at night, Doris was one of the first. I mean, Doris is one of the, and I hope you don't take offense to this, but Doris is one of the realest bitches I've ever met.
I am.
Doris is so fucking real. Like, just
people either love me or hate me, and I'm okay with either or.
But my thing is your energy. Oh, my mom said, "Hey, mama's feeling herself." But Leslie,
you could chew it up and spit it out.
But think about Leslie. You knew the struggles, even like with the relationship with my mom, and to see like now her being like my biggest
supporter.
How was that for you? Because girl, me and you would talk some shit back in the day. And,
well, we know that there's a God because She was not going.
What? And the thing is, she's so open to it. That's why she's here.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
but like, how would like you're one of the only ones that got to see that dynamic, because obviously I wasn't telling Asia that stuff, but like, how was that for you to see like the relationship with my mom evolve?
Actually, I honestly think like I wish that other people that are going through this or can't find themselves or having a hard time coming out to their family can see the relationship that you and your mom actually have, because like I said before, like I wouldn't say you guys would bump heads a little bit, but it was like a battle. Like you were like, she was telling you, well, Norman, well, you know, this and that, and I'm like, okay, you know,
Right.
but like, I don't know. It's just like the way she is now, like she's loved, she loved you regardless. But like now it's just like, okay, this is my son. Like this is he's gonna be who he is regardless. And at the end of the day, he's still gonna be my son, period. You know what I mean? Like that's like how it is, and that's how it should be for others as well, like who are having problems with or struggling with coming out to their families or just trying to find themselves, period. Like I wish other people could like see that.
Baby, honey, when I tell you it's a whole mood, because like literally my mom has gone from where we were to now like being on my show, being an ally, being an advocate. And the thing that was for her is both of her kids are gay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, you know, and I think that even she shared, you know, on one of the episodes that was really hard for her, you know, to deal with. So Leslie, you know, because there would be times I would come back, I'm like, oh my goodness.
I know.
Like,
I'm like, what the pastor say now?
right, girl? Like literally, and everybody used to call her the pastor. And Mom, you don't know this. Everyone would call you a pastor, and you weren't a pastor. But it was because that's the way that you presented. They were like, well, remember the one time she came up there with Aunt Renee?
Yes.
And they were like, oh, she brought her bodyguard.
I'm a bear.
So y'all, in closing, I would like to invite you. I'd like to do this as we close. Baby, Aunt Renee, baby, I remember even Jonathan was scared of Aunt Renee.
Oh yeah,
He was
she
like,
was a beast.
Yeah,
She didn't play no games.
she rolled up to that smoker shack. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And she had that trench coat on.
Yeah.
She had a long trench coat.
Pearl-handled pistol.
Oh, what'd you say, A? What'd you
That
say,
pearl
A?
handle pistol she brought out, just scared off with her own boyfriend.
Ooh.
Baby, when I tell you, literally, so at Trinity, there was like a long driveway. Right. So at Trinity, there was a long driveway. So you would pass the chapel, then you come up a little bit more, then you come up a little bit more, and then you pass like a little green thing on this side, and then you come up to West Hall and where the dining room is, and you see beautiful South Hall, and then you had Alumni Hall, which was new that was built behind. Renee, it seemed like walk from College Drive to the smoker shack with a trench coat. With a trench coat. Wait. No, and I remember she just was looking around. Oh, baby. But listen, y'all, so as we wrap this up, first of all, I want to thank you so much for being open to being part of this platform. And I know it's late where you guys are. So what I want to end this show with is, what do you say in one sentence? What do you say to that person who may have a gay friend and is battling or conflicted with some of the things that we were all conflicted with when we all met? Aside from me and Asia, we all met, you know, in my early adulthood, et cetera, et cetera. What do you say to your younger self in this situation? And we're going to start with Miss Doris.
Oh no!
Oh, sorry, y'all.
In one sentence, love yourself because you will be loved.
Honey, the prophetess has spoken. Did you get that word?
I want that
Honey,
on a t-shirt.
Okay, honey, the collection plate will be passed around.
So silly.
Asia, what about you, girl?
I would say, remember that God is love.
Ooh.
Period.
Period. Okay. Mr. Ricky Kellogg over there in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. What do you say to yourself as as living this experience. And I think I'm going to have you back on another episode because I want us to talk more about that lived experience. So just stay tuned. But what do you say in one sentence to yourself having lived this?
I think everyone mentioned good points, but for me, it's like love yourself. Like I feel like that's the biggest thing anyone can take from that. If someone's struggling with it, love yourself. Like it's okay. Like literally, that's what I would say to myself because I felt like it was not okay, and I was, it was a battle, but I had the right people around me, and someone did tell me that it was like you got to love yourself and you'll be fine. So I will literally say love yourself and keep going. That's it.
I love that. So I'm ending this night with my sister, and a lot of people don't understand. Me and Leslie, we can go months because she didn't found herself a little bit, and she has children now. So she done found herself 4 times, I think.
4, yes, Lord.
But she has her job and her family. I've not lived in the same state for 13 years. But Leslie is one of the people, when I tell you, when I look back at a friend, I think of Leslie.
Boy, don't get me on here crying.
No, listen, when I think of a friend, there was times that nobody would sit next to me at the dining hall. And Leslie would come over dancing. Y'all just don't know. Y'all have no idea, honey. I have pictures. Leslie would come over dancing. Back then, she rocked a cute little bob.
You hear me?
and she would just come over and talk with me and sit with me. And Leslie was the personality that brought other people. So if Leslie sat with me, then Gio would sit with me, and Elizabeth would sit with me, and the girl from Eritrea that I called myself trying to date. You remember? I remember what was her name? I tried to date her too.
Akuba?
No, Yashira. What was it?
Akuba?
Well, if she's out there, she knows who she is. But Leslie, you have been a ride or die, a consistent in my life since 2004. And I love you for that.
I love you too.
And so what do you say to your younger self in one sentence?
Not just loving yourself, but you need to be yourself. Be yourself. Like you can't I have more than one sentence, so let me just go ahead and wrap this up. Just not just loving yourself, but being yourself. And also to those struggling, like open your heart to others. Like, you know what I mean? Like you never know what a person is going through. You never know what they may going home to, what they may be thinking. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't look down on anyone. Don't judge anyone because you don't want to be judged. Everybody has flaws. Everybody's opinions are different. Because people's opinions are different doesn't mean you have to, judge them because their opinions and their purposes are different. Like, that's all. That's it. And I'm out.
Honey, well, listen, I want to again thank my special panel of guests. And my thing is this, y'all know I love doing the show, but there was something about tonight that I just wanted to let it feel authentic. I didn't write a whole lot. I just wanted to kind of go with it. So I thank you to my beautiful cousin, Asia Jamal Rogers, a.k.a. the Songbird.
Woo-hoo!
Thank you to Miss Doris Osorio, who is making international change in the lives of youths.
Yes.
I thank you to Ricky, who has escaped the city and moved to Oshkosh. And seriously, like I literally can't believe it. You have moved to Oshkosh and pursuing your dream and living your life and living it beautifully.
Yes.
I applaud you for that. Thank you. Thank you for being here and showing the audience that your path is your own. And if your path leads you here, follow that path. Yeah. And to my beautiful sister, Miss Leslie Caldwell, we used to make fun of her, girl, because she didn't know really what her last name was.
I didn't.
Because it had so many different variations. But I think we settled on Caldwell.
Yeah, it's Caldwell.
But thank you for being beautiful. And I want to thank you for raising up a family of children that are going to love.
Oh, yes.
of children that are going to be able to see someone different in their class and be able to say, and you too, Asia, because you got kids too, to be able to see someone in your class and be like, hey, you can still be my friend.
Mm-hmm.
So listen, y'all, you already know who it's. Yes, but I don't mind giving you a slight reminder. It's your best friend, your good Judy, your next door neighbor. I'm your niece, your cousin, and recently I'm promoted to great auntie. My name is Norman J. Liverpool IV, and thank you for tuning into another edition of What's the LGBT? Next week, we are going to talk about unveiling the mask of masculinity. I can't wait to see you next week.